Commander Alex Reeves guided his transport through the familiar void between Earth and Luna. The 3-month mission to the outer colonies had been routine: supply runs, diplomatic meetings, nothing special. But as the lunar outpost came into view through his viewport, something felt wrong. The structure looked the same. The solar arrays still caught starlight. The communication towers still reached toward Earth like metal fingers. But there was something different about the main habitat dome. A symbol painted on its surface that made his stomach drop. Instead of the familiar blue and white Earth Federation emblem, a red triangle with strange markings decorated the dome's peak. Alex had never seen those markings before, yet something deep in his mind recognized them. They seemed to pulse with meaning just beyond his understanding. Luna Base. This is Transport 7 requesting landing clearance. He spoke into his comm. Unit. Static answered him. He tried again, switching frequencies. More static. The landing pad sensors activated automatically as he approached, guiding his ship down with mechanical precision. At least the basic systems still worked. Alex powered down his engines and sat in the pilot's seat for a moment, staring at that strange red symbol through his canopy. He had built this outpost with his own hands 5 years ago. Every rivet, every seal, every piece of equipment, he knew them all. The 12-person crew had become like family during the long months of construction. Tom had been his second in command, steady and reliable. Lisa ran the science station with endless curiosity. Old Pete managed the life support systems like they were his children. The airlock cycled with familiar sounds. But when Alex stepped into the main corridor, silence greeted him. Not the comfortable quiet of a night shift, but the heavy silence of abandonment. His footsteps echoed strangely in the recycled air. Hello? His voice carried down the empty hallways. Tom? Lisa? Anyone? The main common area showed signs of recent use. Coffee cups sat on tables, their contents long since evaporated. Personal belongings lay scattered about, a book left open, someone's jacket draped over a chair. But no people. Alex checked the duty roster on the main computer. According to the logs, his crew had maintained normal operations until exactly 37 days ago. Then the entries stopped. Not gradually, not with any explanation. They just ended. The crew quarters told the same story. Beds unmade. Personal. Items undisturbed, as if everyone had simply vanished in the middle of their daily routines. In Lisa's room, her research notes lay open on her desk. The last entry read, "The signal is getting stronger. We need to understand what it means before..." The sentence ended there, pen still lying across the unfinished words. Alex found himself drawn to the observation deck, where the large windows offered a view of both Earth and the stars beyond. The blue marble of home hung in the black sky, looking peaceful and distant. But when he turned to look at the symbol painted on the dome's exterior surface, his breath caught. From inside, he could see that the red triangle wasn't just paint. It seemed to be made of some crystalline material that glowed with its own internal light. The strange markings around its edges shifted and moved like living things, forming patterns that hurt to look at directly. A memory surfaced. Something from his childhood. His grandfather, an old military man, telling stories about symbols he'd seen during the resource wars. "Some things shouldn't be messed with, boy," the old man had said. "Some symbols mean more than just pretty pictures." Alex activated the outpost's external cameras and studied the symbol from multiple angles. The markings definitely weren't human in origin. They curved and twisted in ways that seemed to follow rules his mind couldn't grasp. And they were definitely not painted on. They appeared to be growing from the dome surface itself, like some kind of metallic organism. The communication array crackled to life suddenly, making him jump. Through the static, he heard fragments of voices, his crew's voices. Tom's steady commands, Lisa's excited chatter about discoveries, Pete's grumbling about system maintenance. But the voices sounded distant, distorted as if coming from very far away. Alex grabbed the microphone. "Tom? Lisa? Can you hear me? Where are you?" The voices stopped immediately. replaced by silence so complete that Alex could hear his own heartbeat. Then, slowly, a new sound emerged from the speakers. It wasn't quite music, and wasn't quite speech, but it filled the observation deck with an otherworldly resonance that made the hair on his arm stand up. As the sound grew stronger, the red symbol on the dome pulsed brighter, its alien markings moving faster. Alex realized with growing horror that his return to the lunar outpost had triggered something that had been waiting for him. Alex spent the next several hours going through every system in the outpost, looking for clues about what had happened to his crew. The life support readings showed normal operation, oxygen levels steady, water recycling functioning, temperature controls maintaining comfortable ranges. Whatever had happened, it hadn't been a system failure. The security recordings proved more interesting. Alex pulled up the feeds from 38 days ago, the day before the crew logs ended. Everything appeared normal at first. Tom conducted his morning briefing. Lisa worked on her signal analysis project. Pete performed his daily maintenance rounds. The 12 crew members went about their duties with practiced efficiency. But as Alex watched more carefully, he began to notice subtle changes in their behavior. Small things, the way Lisa kept glancing toward the observation windows, how Tom's usually precise movements became slightly erratic, the way conversations seemed to trail off mid-sentence as people stared at nothing. The most revealing footage came from the observation deck. Starting around day 35, crew members began gathering there during off-duty hours. They would stand at the windows, not looking at Earth or the stars, but staring upward at something the cameras couldn't capture. Their faces showed expressions Alex had never seen before. Not fear, not wonder, but something between recognition and longing. On day 37, Lisa made a breakthrough with her signal research. Alex watched her rush into the common area, calling for everyone to gather. But when she began to speak, the security system's audio cut out. The video showed her talking animatedly, pointing at her datapad while the other crew members listened with growing excitement. Then, as one, they all turned toward the ceiling. The footage ended there. The security system had stopped recording. At 14:23 hours 37 days ago, Alex checked the external sensors next. The array designed to monitor space debris and incoming traffic had been recording unusual electromagnetic signatures for weeks before the crew disappeared. The patterns reminded him of the signal Lisa had been studying, but amplified hundreds of times over. More disturbing were the final sensor readings. They showed a massive energy discharge directly above the outpost, lasting exactly 17 minutes. During those 17 minutes, every piece of electronic equipment on the base had registered impossible readings. Temperature spikes that should have melted circuits, radiation levels that should have been lethal, gravitational anomalies that defied physics. Yet here Alex stood, surrounded by perfectly functioning equipment in a completely habitable environment. He decided to examine the red symbol more closely. Suiting up in his EVA gear, Alex made his way to the outer airlock. Luna's weak gravity made moving across the dome's surface easier, but what he found there made his blood run cold. Up close, the crystalline triangle was even more alien. It wasn't attached to the dome's surface, it was growing from it, like some kind of technological coral. Thin filaments of the same red material had spread across the outer hull in web-like patterns, following the paths of the outpost's electrical systems. When Alex touched one of the filaments with his gloved hand, it pulsed with warm light. The sensation traveled up his arm through the suit's material, carrying with it a flood of images and emotions that weren't his own. He saw vast ships moving between stars, worlds covered in structures that followed the same twisted geometries as the symbol's markings, and beings of light and metal who communicated through patterns of thought rather than words. He jerked his hand back, heart pounding. The alien presence he'd felt seemed to retreat, but not entirely. It lingered at the edges of his consciousness like a half-remembered dream. Back inside the outpost, Alex tried to make sense of what he'd experienced. The beings in his vision hadn't seemed hostile, curious perhaps, but not threatening. They had been studying humanity, learning about their technology and culture. The signal Lisa had detected had been some kind of communication attempt, but where was his crew? As if summoned by his thoughts, the communication array activated again. This time, instead of fragmentary voices, a clear image appeared on the main monitor. It showed the observation deck, but not as Alex had left it. In the image, his 12 crew members stood at the windows, but they were different. Their bodies seemed to be composed of the same crystalline material as the red symbol, glowing with internal light. When they turned toward the camera, their faces showed expressions of profound peace and understanding. Lisa stepped forward and spoke, her voice carrying harmonics that human vocal cords couldn't produce. "Alex, we've been waiting for you to return. We've learned so much. The symbol isn't different. We are." Alex stared at the monitor in disbelief. Lisa's transformed figure gestured for him to come closer, her crystalline features still recognizably human, but infused with something entirely alien. The other crew members stood behind her, their new forms radiating a calm that seemed to transcend human emotion. "This is impossible," Alex whispered. But even as he spoke, he remembered the strange warmth he'd felt when touching the filaments outside. Something about their presence felt familiar, as if he'd been expecting this moment his entire life. "Understanding often feels impossible at first," Lisa's transformed voice continued. "We felt the same way when the Watchers first made contact. They've been observing human development for centuries, Alex, waiting for us to reach the right level of consciousness." Tom stepped forward, his crystalline body reflecting the monitor's light in patterns that seemed to carry meaning. "The lunar outpost wasn't just a research station, Alex. Its location, its purpose, even the specific crew members assigned here, none of it was coincidence. We were chosen." Alex's mind reeled. Chosen for what? To serve as a bridge, Pete's familiar, grumbling tone now carried otherworldly harmonics. Humanity is ready for the next phase of evolution, but the transition needs guides, people who understand both human nature and cosmic consciousness. The monitor shifted, showing images that Alex somehow understood despite their alien origin. He saw Earth from space, but not as a single blue marble. Instead, he perceived it as a living entity, pulsing with the collective thoughts and dreams of billions of minds. Streams of energy connected it to other worlds, forming a vast network of consciousness that spanned the galaxy. "The Watchers aren't conquerors," Lisa explained. "They're gardeners, helping species grow beyond their physical limitations. But the choice must be voluntary. That's why they've been sending signals, testing our readiness." Alex thought about his grandfather's stories, about symbols that meant more than pictures. "How long have they been watching us?" "Since your species first looked up at the stars and wondered," Tom replied. "Every great leap in human development, language, art, technology, space travel, has been gently guided. But guidance only works when a species is ready to accept it." The images on the monitor changed again, showing Alex scenes from his own life, his childhood fascination with astronomy, his decision to join the space program, his natural leadership, abilities that had earned him command of the lunar outpost. Even his 3-month absence, he now realized, had been carefully timed. "The symbol appeared after we made contact," Lisa continued. "It's not just a marker, it's a doorway. The Watchers exist in a state between physical and pure consciousness. The symbol allows them to interact with our reality." Alex looked around the empty common area, understanding beginning to dawn. "You're not gone. You're just somewhere else." "We're everywhere," Pete said with what might have been a chuckle. "And nowhere. Physical existence is just one way of being, Alex. We've learned there are others." The monitor showed the crew members in their current state, beings of living crystal and light who could exist both in physical space and in the realm of pure thought. They hadn't been taken or transformed against their will. They had evolved. "But why me?" Alex asked. "Why did you wait for me to return?" "Because someone needs to make the choice for humanity," Tom explained. "The Watchers won't force evolution on any species, but they will offer it to those ready to take the next step. The lunar outpost has become a beacon, sending signals throughout the solar system. Other humans will come, drawn by curiosity or duty or fate. Each one will have the opportunity to choose." Alex felt the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on his shoulders. And if I choose to join you? Then humanity's true journey begins, Lisa said. Not conquest of the stars through ships and weapons, but through consciousness itself. Imagine exploring the universe not as an observer, but as a participant in the great symphony of awareness that connects all thinking beings. The red symbol on the dome pulsed brighter, and Alex felt its pull more strongly than before. He could sense the vast network of consciousness that awaited, the infinite knowledge and experience of countless species who had made the same choice. But he could also feel the warm familiarity of human thought, the comfort of his own species' particular way of seeing the universe. What about Earth? What about the people who aren't ready? They continue their own path, Tom assured him. Evolution isn't about abandoning what came before. It's about becoming something greater while honoring your origins. We'll always be human, Alex. We'll just be human in ways our ancestors never imagined. The choice stretched before Alex like a bridge between two states of being. Behind him lay the familiar world of physical existence, with all its limitations and certainties. Ahead waited transformation into something unprecedented, beautiful, and terrifying. Alex stood in the observation deck, feeling the pull of the red symbol growing stronger with each passing moment. Through the reinforced windows, he could see Earth hanging in space like a blue jewel, home to billions of people going about their daily lives, unaware that humanity stood at the threshold of its greatest transformation. The crystalline forms of his crew members remained visible on the monitor, waiting patiently for his decision. Their presence felt comforting rather than alien now, like old friends who had discovered an amazing secret and wanted to share it. "Show me," Alex said finally. "Show me what humanity could become." The air in the observation deck shimmered, and suddenly Alex wasn't alone. Lisa materialized beside him, her transformed body translucent but solid enough to touch. Her hand, warm despite its crystalline appearance, rested gently on his shoulder. "Close your eyes," she whispered. "Let us share what we've learned." Alex felt consciousness expand beyond the confines of his skull. His awareness stretched across the lunar surface, then beyond, touching the minds of astronauts aboard the International Space Station. He could feel their wonder as they looked down at Earth, their dedication to pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. The expansion continued. He sensed the dreams of children looking up at the night sky, the calculations of scientists searching for signs of life among the stars, the hopes of philosophers contemplating humanity's place in the cosmos. Every human mind carried a spark of the same curiosity that had driven his species from caves to spacecraft. But there was more. Beyond Earth's atmosphere, Alex perceived other sparks of consciousness, some familiar, some utterly alien. Mars held the sleeping potential of future colonies. The moons of Jupiter hummed with possibilities yet to be discovered. And further, out, beyond the solar system, vast networks of thought stretched between the stars like cosmic spiderwebs. "This is what the Watchers see." Tom's voice resonated in Alex's expanded consciousness. Not individual worlds or species, but the interconnected web of awareness that binds the universe together. Every thinking being is a node in this network, contributing their unique perspective to the greater whole. Alex watched in amazement as streams of knowledge and experience flowed between distant civilizations. Art forms that existed in 17 dimensions, mathematics that could predict the birth of stars, music composed of pure emotion that could heal broken hearts across galaxies. All of it shared freely among species who had learned to transcend their physical limitations. But what about free will? Alex asked, his thoughts rippling through the cosmic network. What about the right to choose our own path? "Free will is sacred," replied a voice that wasn't quite human and wasn't quite alien. One of the Watchers themselves speaking through the network. "That's why we wait. That's why we offer rather than take. Every species must choose its own evolutionary path. Some choose to remain physical. Others, like your crew, choose transcendence. Both paths have value." Alex saw examples throughout the galaxy. Species that had chosen to perfect their physical forms, becoming master engineers who built wonders among the stars. Others who had chosen a middle path, enhancing their bodies with technology while retaining their material existence. And those like his crew, who had abandoned physical form entirely to become beings of pure consciousness and energy. What happens to Earth if I make the choice to transcend? Alex asked. Earth continues, Lisa assured him. Your species isn't. Ready for mass transcendence, and forcing it would be cosmic cruelty. But some individuals are ready. Explorers, dreamers, those who feel the call of something greater. The lunar outpost becomes a gateway for these people, offering them the same choice you face now. Alex understood. He would become one of the guides, helping other humans who felt the pull of evolution. The outpost would serve as a test, a place where those ready for transcendence would find their way. Meanwhile, the rest of humanity would continue its natural development, perhaps reaching the same crossroads in centuries or millennia to come. The vision faded, leaving Alex back in the observation deck with his own thoughts. But the memory of that cosmic awareness lingered, like the afterglow of a beautiful dream. He looked at Earth again, seeing it now not just as home, but as one small part of an infinite tapestry of consciousness. If I choose transcendence, Alex said aloud, will I still be me? Pete's laughter echoed through the speakers, warm and familiar despite its otherworldly harmonics. Alex, I'm still complaining about malfunctioning equipment. I just do it across 17 different dimensions now. You don't lose yourself in transcendence. You become more yourself than you ever imagined possible. The red symbol pulsed brighter, and Alex felt the moment of decision arriving. The choice would define not just his own destiny but potentially the future of human evolution itself. Alex walked to the center of the observation deck, directly beneath the glowing red symbol. Through the dome's transparent material, he could see the crystalline triangle pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. The alien markings around its edges moved faster now, as if sensing his approach to the moment of decision. His crew members appeared around him, not as projections on the monitor, but as shimmering presences in the room itself. Tom stood at his right, Lisa at his left, Pete behind him with his arms crossed in a gesture so familiar it made Alex smile. The others arranged themselves in a circle, their crystalline forms casting rainbow patterns on the walls. No pressure, Pete grumbled, but his tone carried affection. Just the future of human consciousness hanging in the balance. Alex laughed, the sound echoing strangely in the charged air. When you put it like that, how can I refuse? He thought about his journey to this moment, the child who had stared at the stars and dreamed of touching them, the young man who had dedicated his life to pushing humanity beyond Earth's boundaries, the commander who had built this outpost as a stepping stone to the cosmos. Every choice had led him here, to this threshold between what humanity was and what it could become. I want to do this, Alex said, his voice steady with conviction. But I need to know that Earth will be protected, that humanity's natural development won't be forced or manipulated. The Watchers have observed 1 million species make this transition, Tom assured him. Those who try to force evolution on others invariably fail. Growth must come from within, at each being's own pace. You'll help guide those who are ready, but never pressure those who aren't. Alex nodded, feeling the rightness of that path. He looked up at the red symbol, and for the first time the alien markings made sense to him. They weren't writing in any conventional sense. They were a map of consciousness itself, showing the pathways between different states of being. How do we begin? He asked. Lisa stepped forward, her crystalline hand extended. The same way every journey begins, with a single step. Alex reached out and took her hand. The moment their skin touched, warmth flooded through him, carrying with it the accumulated wisdom of civilizations. But beneath the cosmic knowledge, he felt something wonderfully familiar. Lisa's curiosity, her endless questions about how the universe worked, her joy at discovering something new. One by one, the other crew members joined the circle, their hands creating an unbroken chain of connection. Through their touch, Alex felt their individual personalities shining through, their transformed states, Tom's steady leadership, Pete's gruff care for his fellow crew members, each person's essential humanity preserved and enhanced by transcendence. The red symbol above them flared with brilliant light, and Alex felt his consciousness expanding, beyond the boundaries of flesh and bone. But instead of losing himself, he found himself becoming more complete. His awareness stretched across the lunar surface, then to Earth, then outward to the stars. But his core identity remained intact. Alex Reeves, human, explorer, guide. The transformation was gentler than he had expected. Rather than abandoning his physical form, he found he could exist in both states simultaneously. His body became crystalline like the others, but it remained his body. His thoughts expanded to encompass cosmic concepts, but they remained his thoughts. "Welcome to the next phase," Tom said, his voice now harmonizing with Alex's own consciousness. "You're the first, but you won't be the last." Alex understood. Other humans would come to the lunar outpost, drawn by the same restless curiosity that had brought him here. Some would be scientists, others explorers, still others artists or philosophers who sensed that humanity stood on the brink of something magnificent. Each would face the same choice, guided by those who had gone before. Looking down at Earth through his enhanced perception, Alex could see the patterns of human thought, streams of creativity, love, ambition, and wonder flowing. Between minds like rivers of light, somewhere among those billions of consciousness were others ready for transcendence, individuals who would look up at the stars and feel the call of infinite possibility. The lunar outpost would serve as their gateway, its symbol a beacon for those ready to take the next step in human evolution. Meanwhile, the rest of humanity would continue its own magnificent journey, developing at its own pace, reaching for the stars in ways both familiar and yet to be discovered. Alex smiled, feeling the weight of cosmic responsibility balanced by the warmth of human connection. He was no longer just Alex Reeves, lunar outpost commander. He was Alex Reeves, guide between worlds, keeper of humanity's greatest secret, and herald of its most amazing future. The symbol pulsed once more, sending its message across the void. "Come when you're ready. The universe is waiting." And in the depths of space, other signals answered back.